First off, we are going to be going with the Anaheim Ducks, and I'm going to put them at a D. They've been pretty awful this year, but hey, they'll probably get Bedard. So honestly, you know what? Give me a second. I'm going to make another teal. Let's me. Yeah. Let's make it blue. I'll put that tank full Bedard. Boom. Oh. There we go. See? Now it's nice and perfect. Yeah. Alright, so next up we have the Coyotes. That's easy. Just tank for Bedard. We all know what they did. They kind of failed in the chicken trade, didn't get as much as they should have, and they're awful. And next up here, the Bruins. Yeah, they're the best team in the league this year. They gotta go STO here, so yeah, they're just the best team in the league right now. I can't deny that. As much as I hate Boston, this is a good, solid team. I like what they're doing. Next up here we have the Sabres. I'm gonna give them a C. They've been showing a lot of promise, and they may make a playoff spot, but they're still a very young team. They're learning, so we'll see how they go. But yeah. Now, they're a team to watch for the future, and I like what they have coming. Calgary right now, most premise C. They've been a disappointment this year. They have not been as good as they have supposed to been, and it is kind of, hurting them a little bit. But they still have a lot of talent. I think they'll make the playoffs if they pick it up here. But yeah, that's a little bit of concern here. Next up here we have the Carolina Hurricanes, and this is easy. STL, one of the best teams in the league. I don't think you can even deny that they're not. And they reinforced that right now. They got Klinborg, and this is, also pretty obvious. Well, from Edmonton, they acquired in trade. I think they are one of the most solid teams in the league. And if I'm Boston, I would be mainly worried about Carolina beating them. I think Carolina, East Conference-wise, I think they are the second best team next to Boston, and I think they can give Boston one for the money. But I could say the same with Boston too. It's kind of like baffling. I think either of them could win. It's just something where you have to wait and see what exactly happens there. But yeah, definitely, Carolina's doing what they're doing, and they're doing well. Next up here we have the Chicago Blackhawks, and that's easy. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're taking for Bedard. We all know they are taking for him. They just traded away Patrick Kane to the Rangers. They just traded so many pieces. They are done. And they was trying to see if they can get Connor Bedard, and honestly, you can't blame them. Next up here, we're going to have the Avalanche. This is going to be a little controversial one, but I'm going to put them at a B. Now, are they a really good team? Yeah, the problem is they've had a lot of injuries, and they've been kind of inconsistent to this point. And the West is just a disaster right now. They're one of the only really decent teams, though, who could win. But they have been pretty disappointing so far this year. I expect more out from them, especially since they were, the Stanley Cup champions. They haven't lived up to it on their end, and it has been, a little bit of downside, but I think they're good. They have a great chance of winning here, but as of right now, they want to B lanes, but they've made some good moves. Lost Elo, I really like that move, bringing him in, and I will say probably if we reevaluate this right before the playoffs, they're going to be an A team, but right now, just with the inconsistency, I got to put them in B. Next up here we have the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yeah, tank for Bedard. Yeah, they've been awful. I think they may also got to be the worst team in the league. They're just not good. A lot of struggles and inconsistencies, and, it's really weighing down on them now to the point where, you expect more from them, and right now, like, we thought they'd be actually a decent team this year, especially with Johnny Gaudreau coming in and the young town getting caught up, but it has been the complete opposite. And honestly, it is just, yeah. It's tough to watch them, and I know their fans, it's just rough to be a fan of them in general because they've always struggled a lot. But yeah, no, definitely this year was worse than most years for them, I would say though. So, but they do have a lot of great prospects, and I think they have a good future. It's just one of those years where it's gonna be a little bit till they get there. But yeah, no, definitely I think they are definitely a tank for Bedard team, but they gotta definitely improve in the upcoming years, especially if they get Bedard. Next up we have the Dallas Stars. I'm gonna put them at a B. They've had an okay year. They really haven't done anything that astonishing, but they've been good enough when they need to be, and they're gonna be a playoff team. But yeah, no, definitely, I think they'll be tier. Next up here, with Detroit, I'm gonna put my B. They're showing some signs of the rebuild finally being complete. but also still selling off some pieces, which is odd. But I think another team I think has a bright future. I think Steve Yzerman has done a great job, going in there and trying to fix the team up, and I think they are on the right track now. So I think they are going to be close to playoff contention soon. It's just not this year, but they have the signs and pieces to get there. Next up here, Edmonton Oilers. I'm going to put them on A tier. I think. So this is more solely just because of Connor McDavid and Draisaitl and what they've done again this year, but they also made good trades. They got Ekholm, and I think they are a team that can make a run at the Stanley Cup this year. I really do think this is the year they can finally get at that cup. Time will tell, see how they do in the playoffs, but right now I would say they have a good chance, especially since the Western Conference is pretty weak right now too. Next up here, Florida Panthers. I'm going to put my B tier. They have been a massive disappointment. A lot of expecting them to be like an S tier or an A tier team. They just really are not. I'm very disappointed with them. Expect a lot of Matthew Tkachuk. He has not done that. They're just not playing the way they should be right now, and they've been a massive disappointment to this point. And I think I gotta put them in a B here because they should be better than what they actually are. So you gotta wonder if a coaching change will happen. I do think there'll be a coaching change in Florida in the offseason. But yeah, they're not playing up to expectations whatsoever, and it is costing them. Next up here we have the LA Kings, another B team. Coming off a rebuild, and they're showing some signs of improvement. They're looking like they can hopefully be a playoff contender. Actually, I think they are actually right now, but that's just more because the West is so screwed up right now. But yeah, they're definitely getting close there, I think, to something. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But it's definitely very interesting to see. Next up here we have the Minnesota Wild. I'm going to be a little wild card here and put them in the A tier. They have been one of the more consistent teams in the Western Conference to this point, and I think they've played well. Do I think they're going that far? No, but they have actually been consistent compared to most of the other ones who really have not been consistent. And they're not a bad. They are an underrated team, so I'm going to put them at the A tier for right now. I feel like when we get to the playoffs, that I'll move them back down to a B tier, but right now I think they're playing a little bit, at least, being consistent. So that's why I'm going to put them at A right now. But I would bet when I do this one, right after the season ends, they're going to be a B tier. But yeah. Next up here, the Montreal Canadiens. Thankful Bedard. That is just, yeah. They are just, right now, they're in a big rebuild, They have some young pieces, and the young pieces look good. Cole Caulfield looked good before he got hurt. Suzuki looks good. So there's definitely a lot of excitement of them. It's just they need to start building around it. I think their new GM has done a good job of that. I like the new head coach from St. Louis they had last year. I think he's doing a good job with the team, and he is building a good structure for them to have for the future. So definitely that is some excitement for sure. If you are, a Montreal fan, they are building something I think that can be pretty good. But right now they're in just the midst of, it's one of those rough years before you get good again. But yeah, next up here we have the Nashville Predators. I'm going to put it at a C tier. They're not bad enough to be in the tank for Bedard, but they're not good enough to be in playoff contention. They're just in the middle there. Like, they're a bad team that's in the middle. Like, not bad enough to get Bedard, but not good enough to make the playoffs. That's what they're at. But they have had a good trade deadline. I thought they got a lot of good, assets in the ways of draft picks for some of their players they traded. Like, they got a second-round pick for one of their awful players who, let's just say, he went to my team, and I'm not in the best mood about that. But yeah, they got a lot of good some picks, and I think for them, this was a very good way to approach the trade deadline. I think they approached it very well right now to this point, and I think they're going to be rewarded for it in the future because I think they got a good haul for what they did. Next up here we have the New Jersey Devils. They are an an A-tier team. They have just finally shown up here. It looks like finally their rebuild is over, and they have some great pieces. Nico Hisnor, one of the big ones. The other one, of course, we all know, Jack Hughes has been playing spectacular this year. Finally living up to his first overall pick pedigree, which sometimes it just takes a couple years for him to get used to it. Then really good. That's what happened to him, and he's been doing very well for him this year and looking like a good pick by New Jersey, and they got a lot of great prospects coming up as well here. So New Jersey is one of the teams to watch out for in the future here. I think they are definitely a threat. If I'm Carolina, I'm definitely worried. If you're just in the Metro in general, you're worried about the Devils here. But they're definitely, there's a lot of interest in them. I like what they've done so far, and I hope they continue doing what they're doing because they're doing something right. Next up here, the Islanders. I'm putting them at a C tier right now. They've been a disappointment. I expected more out of them, and they have not done that to this point. They're kind of falling off here. They were in one of the 2 wildcard spots, but it does seem like they're going to fall down to the second one from the first because the Penguins are catching up speed now, and they've played like 3 more games than the Pens, and they're only up by 1 point. So I would say they're gonna definitely probably fall behind the Pens. But honestly, those 2 are probably gonna be like just stuck in the wildcard spot because, yeah. But definitely a disappointing of a year. Now Mark Barzell is out long-term from an injury, but you did get Bill Horvat, and he is looking good. So it's a mixed bag, but right now, I think they make the playoffs, but, you expect more out of them, if you know what I mean. Next up here, the New York Rangers, ATL. They've been a disappointment this year, but I still think it was just that pedigree in town, all they have, and now especially adding Tarasenko and Patrick Kane. This is a team to watch out for. They're definitely going to be a hard team to take out in the playoffs. They're going all in, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know if they win it. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't see them getting past Boston or Carolina. And honestly, I think even them against New Jersey is going to be a tough one to play. And then you never know. They nearly choked to the Penguins last year, too. Actually, no, they probably should have won it easily. And it got all the way to 7 games. So you got to wonder here. Are they really going to be able to do that? We'll have to wait and see on them. But, yeah, definitely something to watch out for if the Rangers here. But they could definitely make a run at the Cup. Sandors, C-tier. Not bad enough to get Bedard. But they've been kind of disappointed. You expect more out of them all, really. Especially Alex DeBrincat. He has not been what they were hoping. Claude Giroux's looked good, though. And they're definitely happy with him. And Tim Stützle is looking like the face of the franchise, which was the hope when he was drafted, thought of Wall. And yeah, no, definitely a lot of great positives for them. They also got Chikrin now, too, so another great young player coming in. A lot of positives for them as of right now. Next up here, we have the Philadelphia Flyers, and I'll make this easy for y'all. Thankful for Bedard, and if you're wondering, yes, Philly does stink. They are awful. Don't get me started on them. This is not a good team. They're paying for the sins of Ron Hextall right now. That's what they're paying for. And just, incompetent moves by just the other GM as well. I'm trying to think of his name, but like the one after Hextall. But yeah, definitely, they just, they fell apart. They just can't compete anymore, and they're gonna be in for a long rebuild. And I have a lot of questions, especially if they're head coaching with Tortorella. I don't think he's that good of a coach anymore. I think his ceiling is starting to fall off, and it's pretty much showing with the Flyers the way they are this year. But yeah, next up here, we're gonna skip this one and save this for last because that one's gonna get interesting. Next up here, San Jose Sharks. I'm gonna put C tier. I don't think they're bad enough to be in the Bedard hunt. They are not a good team, but they are. As the way Eric Carlson has been playing, he kind of lifted them out of the tank for Bedard range into like the low C. Like they're on the border there, but I don't think they're really in the tank for Bedard area. I think they're technically in the C area, but they definitely are not a good team, and they're gonna be in a big rebuild here for a little bit. But if they can they sold off some of their assets. I'm not so really much with the Torrents. I'm not a big fan of what they got for Timo Meier as the return for him. But yeah, they definitely can, sell off some more here, I think, and they can get into full rebuild mode. And hopefully some of their prospects, because they don't have much right now, but hopefully they can get some in there that can start getting them back on the right track. Because right now, they're just going to be starting this whole rebuild. Next up here, the St. Louis Blues. C tier has been a massive disappointment. I expect this to be a playoff team. But what really happened is they had to sell off a lot of their players. They lost Tarasenko and O'Reilly. And I got some questions here, like what happens. Definitely, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Because they have some young talent, but a lot of their talent's kind of aging now, so we'll have to wait and see. Do they trade some of it off? I think they're going to have to trade it off. I know they're talking about some of them here. So we'll have to wait till Friday's deadline, but yeah, definitely I think they have to sell off and, probably admit they are now going to have to be in a rebuild. But hey, they got a cup out of it, so that's pretty good for them. Next up here, Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm gonna put in the S tier. They've had a great year, very underrated. They're coming out and they're now playing very well. And you know what? I think they're a good team, and I think they can get back to the Stanley Cup again for the fourth time in a row this year if they want. They have the firepower to take out these two for sure if they want to. And I just think they're probably the third best team in the East, but they could easily take out 1 and 2, in my opinion. Next up here we have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Actually, I'm gonna put them in the A tier. They're right on the line though between A tier and S tier, but yeah, they have definitely the talent to make a run at it. Now, are they gonna make a run at it? Honestly, knowing them, they're gonna probably get out in the first round again because that's just what they do. But the talent's there, and they can definitely do it. They just need to, get it past that first round. And I don't know if they can or not. I don't think this is the year they get past it. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think they get past it, and I think soon they gotta worry about Austin Matthews because I feel like he may be leaving. I don't think he'll stay in Toronto his whole career. I think there probably will be a move at some point here. But yeah, we'll have to watch that closely. But yeah, I'm going to put him at 8 tier for now. Next up here, Vancouver Canucks. Thankful but not. They have been god-awful. Bad. Very bad. It's just been kind of a disaster for me. You expect more from them. The prospects, now they're selling off. But yeah, definitely, you expect more right now. And hopefully they're able to sell off and they can get some good players. But they've just been a joke right now. The whole Bruce Boudreau situation was a disaster. Just everything in general this year for them has been an utter disaster. And they really just gotta, get that rebuild going. See if they can get someone like Bedard to come in and help fix the franchise and help Elias Pettersson out. But yeah, definitely a lot of interest there. And we'll have to wait and see. Because we have not seen if Bessel gets traded yet. But him and JT Miller, Leslie is supposed to both get traded or one of the two. So that'll probably be Friday, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, definitely very interesting. And next up here, Vegas Golden Knights. I'm going to put them in a B. I think they've had a good, solid season. They're going to make the playoffs. Rebounded. They definitely have rebounded from last season. But they're not that good that they're going to do anything that special. They're on a decline here. I think their time really is up here. I think we'll start seeing them have to do a rebuild soon. But I think this is one of the last couple chances here to really try to see if they can get back to the Cup and win it, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up here, Washington Capitals. They are C. They are finally starting to decline, and they did sell off some of the pieces to get some young talent, but what they did get for the young talent is very intriguing. I really like Ramusis Sandin. I think he's very good. I'm excited to see what he turns into, because I think he just didn't get good enough opportunities in Toronto. Now he will, and it'll be interesting to see what all he can do. Next up here, we got the Winnipeg Jets. Honestly, they've been very underrated. I'm going to put them in the 8 tier. I think they've had a very great season. They're finally showing off they can be a good team, and they can make the playoffs. And I think this is Winnipeg's first team that actually has a shot again, at least to the finals, in my opinion. Not the Stanley Cup finals, but like the conference finals. I think they have a good shot at it. And I think definitely with a lot of the young talent, they could definitely be on their way to that. But they'll have to still, wait and see. This is a young team with a lot of they don't have a lot of holes, but they're definitely still they got to figure things out. But they have potential to be something better than what they are right now. But of course, that's something we have to wait and see. And now next up here is the Penguins, and I'm just going to, because here's the thing, they have been all over the place this year. They've been kind of here for the first half of the season. Then they went to heel, and then heel, and then heel. Heck, they've been heel recently. Then they're back up to heel and heel now, kind of. And then last night happened. So the best way, I think, to rank these guys is not to rank them in S, A, B, C, or tank for Bedard, but to rank them in their own category of, what the heck? Alright, hold on. Yeah. So sometimes this thing likes to mess with me. Alright, here we go. But to put them in their own category, and that one is, and I'll give you let's go purple. And that is, and if I can get a type here, Von Hextall's Disaster. And you wonder why I have this here? Oh, what the heck? It changed my B to C. Okay, Yeah, well, okay. Come on, this thing's messing me a little bit here. Okay, then I'm just gonna change this back to B. Come on. Alright, we're back to B now. And this is where the Penguins go because Juan Hextall has utterly butchered this team. This is literally a disgrace right now. As a Penguins fan, I'm mad. What they have done the trade deadline is utterly laughable. They missed out on Chikrin because they weren't willing to give up first round picks. They literally cleared cap, and everyone thought, oh, they're going to get better, so that's good. They decided to go get Granlund instead, who is a lot older, a lot less good, and has a crazy cap hit. And it's 31. It's just, it's mind-boggling what's going on. And, like, you can't blame it on the players. You can't even blame it on Sullivan, because it's not his fault that these players are getting brought in here who don't fit the system. Like, some of the players you feel bad for, because they just, they just don't fit the system, and their games are getting significantly worse because they just don't fit the system that the Penguins use. And right now, this is just turned into a little disaster, and you have to hope that there's some massive changes in the general managing office next season, and the Penguins can get back to competing here, because they were a team that can definitely compete. Like, you can't tell me they can't compete. Crosby and Malkin right now playing out of their minds, and a lot of the other players who are big are trying their hardest to get this team to win, and it's just, there have been a lot of issues, and I think that's mainly due to Hextall, and he's had some poor management, especially with the salary cap, and just player management in general, like the whole Jeff Carter situation. Like, he should not have been given that contract. And now this one here, too, like, they paid a second-round pick for a guy who's insanely overpaid, yet they could have got someone who's cheaper and would have been more for the second-round pick in Domi, apparently. So, like, it's just, I think that as long as Hextall is there, they're going to definitely suffer. I think they need to make a change, or else everything is going to really fall off. And it's just disappointing as a Penguins fan to really see this. Like, they'll make the playoffs, but they'll be out in the first round for sure. And, it's just, you expect more of them, and I really do expect more of them, and I hope they do make some changes because they are dearly needed. But yeah, that really does it here for the rankings. Thank you guys all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you want to see more of this kind of hockey stuff, because I'm going to probably be doing a lot more NHL here soon. I know I did an episode yesterday on all the Penguins stuff because it was insane. And then on Friday here, I will have another NHL trade deadline video after 4 p.m. here, and I'll be basically talking about every single thing that's happened here, because the whole thing will finally be over the hump, so I can actually, have everything 100% confirmed, and I can talk about, give my thoughts. So please tune in, listen in. If watch the video here on YouTube. If you like to listen to the audio version, we have it on Amazon Podcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and also Apple Podcasts. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.